Julian couldn't appear in court today because he was unwell. He was so unwell he couldn't even appear by video link. How poor is his state of health?
Yeah, I haven't been able to speak to Julian today, but obviously I'm very concerned about his state of health, particularly as he wasn't able to appear in court and video link, as you say. He did have a mini stroke at one of his previous hearings when he joined from video link. He was experiencing those symptoms, which was probably, I think, in the end of 2021. So very concerned that he could potentially be having another severe, health moment in the prison there.
Based on when you last saw him, your last conversation with him, what was your assessment of Julian Assange's state of mind, Gabrielle?
Look, he's hanging in there. He's fighting. He's been in that maximum security prison now for 5 years. It's really worn him down in terms of his health and his mental health. He has good and bad days. So when I go and visit him in the prison, it's always an anxious trip out there because you just don't know how you're going to find him. But he's been putting on a brave face the last few times I've visited him and still has that fighting fire inside him. So we really hope that he can continue fighting this and can hold on long enough for it to be resolved so he can come back to Australia and, just relax and recuperate with his family.
Getting down to tin tacks, how confident is Julian Assange's legal team, yourself, other friends and family, that this bid to avoid extradition will succeed?
Well, I'm not very hopeful, but the sort of vibe has changed around the court this time. It's very considerable shift. There's many protesters outside the court, very vocal, more than I've ever seen before. The motion from the Australian Parliament last week has really, I think, put the focus on the UK courts and this process. The media is paying a lot of attention to it, and the judges in the court I get the feeling they're really listening to the defence arguments this time. Today was a chance for the defence to put forward the political nature of this prosecution and how it originated under Mike Pompeo, who was then CIA director when he declared WikiLeaks a non-state hostile intelligence agency, and really ramped up clandestine efforts from within the CIA and also putting pressure on the Department of Justice. So those are the first time those arguments have ever been able to be made in court. And so today was a very important day for those arguments to be put down and that political nature of this persecution to be put to these High Court judges.
The Australian government insists that from the Prime Minister all the way down that, in their view, enough is enough and Julian Assange should be brought home, but that's as far as they're going. What more would you like the government to do to try to resolve this situation one way or the other?
Well, the time is now for the government really just to pull out all the stops and get Julian back home before it's too late. This is his final appeal in the UK courts. If he loses this, he could be extradited to the United States, and we really don't know what will happen to him there. He could end up dying if he's extradited to the United States. So it's time for the government to pull out all the stops, really make it clear to the Biden administration. Just ask, straight up ask them for a favour that we want our guy back. We want Julian to be returned home. We have the mandate from the Parliament, 2/3 of the Parliament voting to bring Julian home. The majority of the Australian population want the government to get that done. And if they can do it for Australians who are in China, Australian journalists in Vietnam or Egypt, it's hard to understand why they can't make it happen when it's our closest allies in the UK and the US.